So let's see. Carmela says, how do you slow down a man that is too eager to keep in touch too often for comfort? It was fine in the beginning, but it's starting to become taxing and time consuming. Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about before, right? Because we've all, right? It's on both the men and the women's side. Like I talk to you because I'm talking to you about these things that either work or don't work and these tests that men have. But a lot of these tests are the same for women. It's not like, it's just men that are in this situation. A lot of the women that come to us are in these situations where they're doing things and they're pushing guys away. And here's one of the challenges that you're going to run into here, Carmela, is that when you start being like, hey, you're contacting me too much, right? What you're doing is you're kind of pushing him away. And what that does is it creates a rubber band effect, and it's going to make him want to do it more often. It's something that he needs to work on within himself and he needs to learn about. And one of the problems is it's difficult, especially when you're in a relationship, to coach somebody on that or teach somebody about that, because then they start feeling like they're not good enough. And why is he trying to do that all the time? And I hear this from women all the time, right? I always hear women that are like, how do I get men to, text me every day and contact me every day? And then when you do have a guy who's texting and contacting you every day, you're like, how do I get him to stop doing that? It was charming at first, but it's not anymore. And I hear that same sentence almost, I think I've probably heard it at least a dozen times or more now. And so you can let him know. I mean, you can tell him, and like I was talking about with boundaries, what you do with boundaries and how you communicate a boundary is tell him what you want or tell him what you like, right? They call it kind of like a sandwich or something, right? You give him something where you tell him that you like him, or you tell him that you love connecting with him, or you tell him that you're really flattered by him and that it makes you feel really good when he contacts you. And then you set the boundary, which is, but I've got a lot of things going on and I can't always be talking all the time and every day. And so, if and it might not even be a thing with him, right? It might be just for you setting this boundary and making sure that he knows that you're not going to be, responding to his messages all the time. And you don't want to do it just cold turkey and just stop messaging him. But instead, what you want to do is communicate, just be like, look, I've got a lot of things going on. And, these times of the day, there's actually a book out there called The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. And one of the things that he talks about is setting boundaries with phone calls with people and having on your voice messenger where you're like, hey, this is Carmela and I take phone calls. I only respond to phone calls during the hours of, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. If you want to get a hold of me, make sure that you contact me during those times, right? And so it's basically kind of a similar thing here, where you're like, hey, look, I love contacting. I love how much you like to be in contact with me. It really makes me feel special and amazing and wonderful as a woman. And at the same time, I've got a lot of things that are going on. And so I might not always be responsive to your texts, especially during the day. I have a lot of time during the day when it's really important for me to be working. And so I might not respond to your text at all during those times. And it would be easier for me if you didn't contact me during those times. That way I didn't feel like I felt a little bit obligated or something to contact you back. And instead we talked like during the evening or something like that, or, maybe twice a week or 3 times a week instead of every single day, or whatever thing you're trying to set up here. Right. And just communicating with him. And then at the end of it, just telling him, I really love, hanging out with you and spending time with you and talking to you. It's a little too overwhelming for me. And I need a little bit more space, and just letting him know that. And if he's socially smart and he understands any kind of social dynamics whatsoever, he will give you some space. And if he doesn't, this can be a test for you with him, right? To see how he kind of reacts and see what he does. And if he's starts getting all needy and clingy, which he might if he's connecting with you out of a space of neediness in the first place, then that's a good place for you to know that he's coming from that space. So I hope you understand what I'm talking about there, Carmela.